Alrighty, good afternoon. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Good afternoon, good morning. I'm Imam Oliver Muhammad of the Assalam Islamic Center in Raleigh, and we'd like to welcome you again to our show, Islam in Focus, the Guiding Light. This is probably our fifth show, and we thank you all for tuning in, and we hope that after you listen to the show and watch this show, that you will have a better understanding of what Islam is about. We are here on this show to really clarify and to remove a lot of the misconceptions that the public has gotten over the years about Islam and Muslims, and we're here today to offer you some insights on what Islam is about. Today, we are honored to have a special guest. You know, there have been a lot of stereotypes about Muslim women and the role of the Muslim female, and the images that we see around the world. They are often depicted as being an oppressed subgroup within the Muslim community. But we want to be able to address that question, and today we have we're honored to have as a guest on our show, Islam in Focus, Sister Fonda Muhammad, who just moved to the Raleigh-Durham area about a couple years ago. And we're honored to have you on our show, Sister, and we thank Allah for your presence, and we're looking forward to having this wonderful conversation with you.
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, thank you for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, Sister Fonda has come to Raleigh and taken this city by storm. She brings a lot of energy and knowledge and experience. She is an educator. She was an educator for the city of New York as a school teacher.
State of New York.
The state of New York. And so how many years were you teaching there?
I taught for 22 years.
22 years. Mm-hmm. Wow, that means that you were committed.
Absolutely committed.
That was a commitment. That wasn't just an occupation, that was a commitment.
Exactly.
Anytime a teacher, you can stay in a classroom for 22 years, that speaks volumes.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
So what was some of your better experiences as being a school teacher?
I would say the single most powerful, better experience is just seeing the light bulbs go off in the young people's. I can tell when they get a concept.
Okay.
So for me, even the first day, I would always have my students ask a personal question. They would tell me, you know how teachers always say, well, tell me about yourself. So they would tell me about themselves, and then the last question is, ask me a personal question.
Oh.
For 22 years, I would get a mixture of questions, but for 22 years, at least 5 students out of every class period would ask me, why are you wearing the headpiece? Yes. Yeah. Why are you wearing the scarf?
Okay.
And so for 22 years, I was always excited to explain to them. And but going back to your question, I would say the light bulbs, the brightness in the eyes when they get a concept, the fact that they're asking me questions about myself.
Okay. I know my wife, she's an educator as well, and I remember her coming home from work one day. She said she had an experience with one of her students. She wore a headscarf as well. And they were just curious. They said, Miss Muhammad, can you pull your scarf off so we can see your hair?
Right.
Have you ever had that? Have you ever had a student ask you that?
Oh, early on.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Imam Oliver, early on, they would say, are you bald?
Do you have cancer or
Do
something?
you have cancer?
Right.
And so the first 5 years, I actually would, as a treat, the last day of school, they would all huddle around me, and I would actually let them see like
a strand
of my hair.
Okay.
I have hair, guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they are curious.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, right. You have come here and you have began a program called Leaders by Choice. That's a wonderful program, and we've seen it take off, and it seems to be very attractive to what we call tweens and teens, you know, children between the age of 10 and 13, and the older children as well, from high school up to college. And why do you think this program can really help young people with, especially with the issues that our young people are faced with you know, the social pressure, teenage pregnancy. We see we see so many of our young boys in particular falling through the cracks, and we hear about from the school to the prison pipeline.
Right.
How do you see leaders by choice? And just the subtopic is choosing to grow and develop with God consciousness. What's so impactful about this?
Particular.
Yeah, right. I mean, this whole concept, and you said that you had done this in New York, and
Right.
and you had great. It had a great impact, and I'm just wondering, you know, what is it about it that makes it so powerful?
So powerful. Well, just to give you a little history,
Mm-hmm.
as you said, I started it in New York,
Okay.
and honestly,
Mm-hmm.
my first year of teaching, I had a group of about 6 to 8 girls just hanging out in my classroom,
Wow.
helping me with my bulletin board,
Okay.
helping me, just talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through my first year. Then Allah said to me, spoke to me in a dream, spoke to me in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
I was inspired through a dream.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Those same girls,
Mm-hmm.
they're looking for, they have leadership skills, but they're looking for an outlet.
Okay.
Those are the girls who wouldn't necessarily be in the honor society or necessarily be in whatever, student government. So the very next year, I decided that I would start a club. And we started out with Leaders by Choice, and it went from 8 girls to over 100 students.
Wow.
By the time I left that particular district, after 8 years, it had grown that much. It was not just in the middle school, it had grown to the high school, and it had also grown into the elementary school.
So it included boys as well, or just
Boys
girls?
too. It started out with girls.
So the boys came after, later. Okay.
And these are a lot of the boys who came were the hard knock boys. Looking. Let me tell you something. To answer your question a little more succinctly, young people are looking for guidance. They may not articulate it,
Right.
but they're looking for guidance, and they're looking for vehicles to help them really stay on the straight and narrow. Minus a vehicle to keep them on the straight and narrow, they're going to do whatever they want to do.
They're going to stray. They're
Right.
going to go.
So
Right.
Leaders by Choice gave them an opportunity to have wholesome activities, really demonstrate their God-given leadership skills, but now they're making a cognizant, a conscientious decision. You know what? Instead of leading my peers to do drugs or leading my peers to vandalize the school or the numerous things that we know could happen, they're now leading their peers and going down to the elementary school to read to the young people. They're leading their peers as they set up different roller skating parties or activities.
You know what attracted me about the whole theme and the whole title of this, two powerful words, leaders, but then choice. So these are young people who are choosing, because that seems to be the pitfall for so many young people, is
Right.
they don't know how to make good decisions.
Right.
So when you say leaders by choice, to me, you're teaching them how to make better decisions and really taking charge of their own life and their growth and their development.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, how did you come up with that name? That's the thing I'm thinking about.
I'm actually glad you asked me that, because within the first 6 months, it was actually called Leaders by Nature.
Leaders by nature.
Leaders by
Okay.
nature. And after 6 months, I talked it over with those same 6 to 8 girls, and I said, you know what? I think I want it stronger, because we know that the leadership is naturally in you, but I want you young people to make the choice to let that natural leadership come out. So we changed it before the Board of Education actually approved it. We changed it to Leaders by Choice, because I really wanted to push for them to make a conscientious choice to become positive leaders, because we know that they can be negative leaders because it's in them. So that's the past. Now bringing it up to Raleigh, North Carolina, the present. About a year ago, I said, you know what, Leaders by Choice shouldn't die. And why can't we bring something to the young Muslims who, they're no different than
Right.
other public school kids.
Right.
They're looking for a positive vehicle to do something really, really powerful with what God has given them. So that's where we are today. We have Leaders by Choice, commonly known as LBC. And we're hoping that these young people will learn leadership skills And we started out with communication, which
Okay,
is very
right.
important, and then take it from there. And we plan to do things like go into the city of
Mm-hmm.
Raleigh and work with young people
Great.
to set up programs right here at the masjid to see them in their leadership, their natural leadership.
Wonderful. You know, what's the irony in this is that you are a Muslim woman and you're teaching young people how to be leaders. So with the stereotype and the ignorance about Muslim women globally, how is it that a Muslim woman can teach people how to become leaders, especially when you think of the fact that let's use marriage for an example. Globally, the institution of marriage seems like it has always favored the man being the leader, or the rights of women, or the role of women have always been like her fulfillment for a woman comes when she can serve her husband, keep her house clean, what else? Bear children, mop,
Barefoot and pregnant?
Yeah, barefoot and pregnant. Or the husband, he brings home the quote unquote the lamb. I won't say bacon, but unless it's beef bacon. But so I'm saying, what is it about Islam you feel that didn't prevent you from developing such a wonderful concept? Because from all intents and purposes, based on what we hear in the media, Muslim women are not supposed to think like this. They're supposed to think about leadership in the home, maybe, being in control of what's going to be served on the dinner plate today,
Right.
or making sure the house stay clean. But, what is it about Islam that have inspired you to really take on a task like this?
Well, contrary to what many people believe, there are quite a few amazing leaders, even in the Prophet ﷺ's day.
Right.
I was always inspired by Aisha.
Aisha, right.
She was a fireball. She asked a lot of questions. I asked a lot of questions.
Okay.
Khadija, who of course, she was a businesswoman herself. So I was very inspired by many, many women in Islam. But you need to know something about me too. I was liberated when I became a Muslim. I really became a liberated woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was this shy, afraid of my own shadow, sheltered.
Wow.
It wasn't like I was in a real strict home living up, but I was self-sheltered because I really was afraid of certain things. And I went through a number of years like that, and becoming Muslim helped me with my shyness.
Okay.
It helped me with my confidence. So here again, you talk about leaders by choice. I made a choice to allow the natural leadership ability to come through after studying this amazing book called, I like to say the Noble Quran, but the Holy Quran. Studying reports from the Prophet, and I'm blessed too. You need to know this.
Yes.
I have an amazing husband.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
you do.
amazing
you do.
husband.
It really is. I was just about to say something about him, but you go ahead and finish.
Yeah, so he saw some things in me. He never once said, "Oh, Fonda, you need to stop laughing. Fonda, you need to change your personality." He's always accepted me for who I am.
So he didn't try to reshape you
He
or
didn't try to break the ribs.
ribs.
He just accepted me for who I am.
All right.
So that helps a lot.
Right, it does.
It really does, because I know plenty of women who may have the same energy, the same spirit, but
they're snuffled out.
unfortunately,
Yeah, they're snuffled
totally
out.
wiped out
Right,
because
right.
of a domineering husband
Right.
who happens to think that women should be
Quiet,
barefoot,
quiet in the corner.
barefoot, pregnant, quiet,
Right.
humble. It's just amazing the combination of studying, loving my way of life, and having a supportive husband. Man, that's a recipe for true leadership.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm
That's
liberated
great.
as a Muslim woman.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
And I need the world to know I'm liberated as a Muslim woman.
All right.
Did you hear that, world?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, and public listening audience and watching audience, we're going to be honored to begin the production of a Muslim woman view, if you can call it that. I don't know what we'll name it yet, but the Muslim women are going to have their own show on this station, and we look forward to having an opportunity to learn from the women, from the Muslim women, and because Muslim women do have a view. They do have a perspective. They do have the right to interpret the Quran. You know, we have Muslim scholars, Muslim women who are scholars, and some have. They have done their own translation of the Quran, and I just read the other day where a new masjid that's open in California.
Okay.
That's sponsored and built by and ran by Muslim women.
Really?
They're going to have their own female imam for Muslim women. Men can't come.
Whoa.
This is a female masjid. You know, in China they have lots of masjids that's been built by women. And Islam, the woman has a right to lead other women in prayer.
Right. Right.
But I'm just saying, we're not saying that this is something that we're promoting, but we're saying that the time that we have arrived is that Muslim women are beginning to assert themselves.
Yes.
Because of, it is a fact that in some societies, women have been oppressed. But in this new age of information and technology, women are having access to the same knowledge and information that men have. And so we don't know how this is going to work out. You know, we don't know how that's going to, whether that's a positive development or not.
Right.
But we do want to watch it and see how this goes. We're not encouraging that, because, you know, in Islam we would prefer that the Muslim community stay as one and whole and not separate itself through sexes. But the point I'm making is that Muslim women are asserting themselves. They are asserting themselves in many different areas. Not only, as you mentioned, as you are an educator, but Muslim women are asserting themselves. They are seeking, and they have a right in Islam to have financial independence. So, so these are some of the topics, I'm sure, that will be explored on your shows. Some of them may be controversial,
right?
But I think that we need to unpack these things so that people can get a better understanding of what Muslim women are involved in. A lot of their involvements, and to show the diversity too among Muslim women.
Right. Well, you know, it's interesting that you say that, because you mentioned the words are starting to assert themselves.
Right.
Remember what I said a few minutes ago?
Right.
We have Khadija and we have Aisha. So it's there. It's Islam is set up for us, for women, to be leaders.
Right.
It doesn't take away from the fact that, like, I love my role as a wife, love my role as a mother. Oh my goodness, I wouldn't replace any one of those for anything. But I also love my role out in society.
Right. Okay.
You know, I love being an educator. I dabbled a little bit in government. Didn't quite win the race, but I did dabble. I considered it.
Okay.
I just love it. We have women in finance as leaders. We have it all. We have women all over the place, and we should be allowed to do whatever it is that we want to do, so long as it's allowed.
Do you think that women, they are involved in all these different fields, as you mentioned, but what is it special that women bring to these different areas? I know, you know, men may bring a certain maleness to a certain area of work or a certain area of endeavor. What is it that women bring? I remember Imam W. Muhammad said once that that just like you need a woman at home, a mother, he said a mother at home, we need a mother in the White House.
Yes.
Or you need a mother in the school system. You need a mother in the courts. What do you think women bring that a man really can't bring? It's a quality.
Well, I want to answer that in two ways.
Okay.
I want to say that there are many women who can bring an analytical mind.
Okay.
So can a man. Many women who can bring the ability to communicate effectively, so can a man. But I think the specialness of a woman is her ability to be intuitive, to come with details that maybe a man, in the way he has been socialized, he maybe not be so focused on a particular detail-oriented type of response, so to speak. So to be a little more succinct, I think women bring in details.
Okay.
I think they also bring in a certain sensitivity.
Okay.
You know, a certain compassion. I think both men and women are compassionate beings, but I believe that women, and I'm painting with a broad brush, of course.
Yes, I understand.
But many women can bring in that compassion where a man, certain men might be harsh in a certain area. A woman may bring a certain sensitivity that can balance it out.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I love the fact that women are in their leadership roles because we can balance each other out. We absolutely can. And not to keep talking about my husband, but to talk about my husband, I believe we balance each other out.
Good.
You know,
Yeah.
and so we work well in a marriage, 30 years and counting, by the way, and we also work well in the community together because we bring that balance.
Right.
And that's what women can bring.
Right. Do you think societies suffer when you only have one side of the human being or the human family making the major contributions to that society? If you have a society where women's opinions are not considered or even sought after, you think some important perspectives are missing, or some insights that would help maybe resolve a lot of the societal problems that a society could be facing. Because in the Quran, God says that He has created man from nafsin wahida, and from that one soul He created its mate, and then from them scattered seeds of countless men and women. So as you mentioned, the whole thing about balance, the seem like human life is balanced when you have both sexes making their contribution to the advancement of life.
Absolutely.
So, sister, we're very excited about this new show, really, and I just want to hear from you about what are some of the topics that you all plan to have on the Muslim view, on the Muslim woman's view.
Well, I'm just glad you asked.
Okay, you got them written down.
I have some things written down for you.
Wonderful.
Well, one of the things I want to make it clear, we talked a lot about women in leadership roles.
Right.
So we want to touch on the topic of women in leadership, finance, government, obviously education, that kind of thing. Leadership roles in the home. We don't run away just because we're Muslims and we're trying to be out there in society. We don't want to run away from being leaders in our home and taking care of our home. It's not, and please don't misunderstand. I understand that my husband is the leader, but we also have leadership roles within the home.
Right.
Women, Muslim women in the military. It's another one we want to top on.
That's interesting.
That's going to be an interesting topic. We want to talk about some of the Muslim holidays. We talked about leaders by choice. We want to make sure we have a lot of discussion about our holidays because there's so many people who don't know about our holidays. We want to have a show that deals with interfaith relations. We want to, this is what we envision. We envision the show starting off with, I am Khadija, I am Aaliyah, I am Fonda. And then all of a sudden, all over the world, these people are saying, I am. And then together we say, I am Muslim.
Oh, wow.
To bring that kind of connection.
I got you. That's going to be powerful.
You know, stuff starts coming to
I hear you. That's you. I like that.
Yeah.
So that means you're going to have to connect with women all over the world.
Absolutely.
And with technology, that can happen.
And with technology, it can happen.
They can use that. They can do a selfie on their cell phone, right?
There you go. That's right. We want to talk about fashions, fabulous fashions. I happen to wear my headpiece like this, but there's so many different ways to wear your headpiece.
That's good because the picture people get is a woman wearing the burqa.
Right, or
the
niqab.
The niqab, yeah. That's
absolutely.
Right. Wonderful.
We want to talk about living in America and some of the struggles, some of the biases that we've had to face as Muslim women. We want to talk about, and here comes, you know what, with every good positive, there's going to be a negative, because that's called the law of duality. So we're going to touch on those controversial topics like domestic violence, polygyny.
Right, I got you.
Not to say that that's a bad topic, I'm just saying it is controversial.
Controversial, yeah.
Absolutely.
Right, that's right.
We want to touch about we want to touch on blended families.
Right, yes.
We want to touch on marriage. Not all marriages are sweet.
That's right.
So there's a lot of things we've been talking, a few of us sisters have gotten together, we've had some meetings.
But these are real issues, life issues, and I really appreciate the fact that you all have the courage to bring these issues out, and let's unpack this stuff, because, you know, I say people are no sicker than their secrets. So we need to really bring this information out, because we don't know who's listening out here, and the information that we bring, it could help people.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. That's just great. That's just
so we look
fantastic.
forward to it.
Well, thank you so much, and we appreciate that, and I'm excited, and I know you're going to probably have some of the young people on too every now and then.
Yes.
Some of the leaders by choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful.
We would love that.
Well, thank you for listening, public, and we're excited about the excitement that's building around this show, and we look forward to hoping that you'll tune in again next week. Assalamu alaikum. May God's peace and blessings be upon you.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Okay.
Please tune in next week, the same time, same place, and may the peace of God be.